Once again, Christian greetings to all our valued listeners and viewers throughout the whole world. This is our special episode number 64 as the last final warning message just prior to the close of provision. Still, focus our attention to the symbolization of the scarlet-colored beast. Now, I would like to read to SR page 34. It says, a record of a divine survey of this world history from creation to redemption. So you see, divine survey from creation to redemption. Also this statement, I would like to, let's read again. 2SR on page 30. It says, the most wonderful thing about these prophetic symbols is that they are perfectly capable of revealing the truth, and once understood aright, they cannot be contradicted. It says, they cannot be contradicted. What a wonderful statement, right? And remember, according to 2SR page 9 and page 10, that the message recorded in 2SR is prophetically timed. Now let's read 2SR page 9 and 10. The message in this volume, meaning 2SR, was prophetically timed by the parable of the householder who sent laborers into his vineyard. Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 to 16. Proving to be the 11th hour call, the last and at the right time. The fact that this wonderful revelation of the scriptures cannot be contradicted proves that the message correct and its inspiration true. This prophetic call is based on the prophecies of Daniel and its explanation made clear by the book of Revelation. Thus, it is symbolically explained. These prophetic symbols of beasts, wings, horns, heads, crowns, etc. prove to be most perfect symbols in revealing the truth represented by them. And when correctly applied, it is certain that their meaning cannot be misconstrued. Now, let us focus our attention, brethren, to the scarlet-colored beast. So, according to the shepherd's rod, I would like to read 2TG number 36. 2TG number 36 on page 6. 2TG number 36, page 6. It says, Now the fact that the wounded head of the leopard-like was to have his wound healed, and also the fact that the scarlet-colored beast of Revelation 17 is a beast that has the same characteristics as the leopard-like beast, having 10 horns and 7 heads, but no wound on any of them. You see, no wound on any of them proves that the latter beast is symbolical of the time after the deadly one is healed, of a 7th period of time. For the two-horned beast comes before the scarlet-colored beast, and he is the one who makes an image of the beast before it. Now, brethren, the statement is very plain. It says that the two-horned beast comes before the scarlet-colored beast, and he is the one who makes an image of the beast before it. Let us apply the symbolization in the actual occurrence. Now, I would like to read first at 2SR. 2SR page 114. It says, let's read. 2SR page 114. It says, Revelation 17 verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and they that dwell on the earth shall wander, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. The beast that thou sawest, the scarlet-colored, said the angel, was and is not. As previously explained, the beast first began to appear on the stage of history in 1929. Therefore, the word was represents the period from the above stated date up to the time when he will be not. The period represented by the word not is the 1,000 years of Satan's captivity, millennium. And then it says in 115, this period commences with the second coming of Christ and the end of this present world. 2SR page 115. Now let us read 2TG. 2TG number, let's read. 2TG number 18, page 21. It says, He shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, out of the pit in which Satan himself is to be bound for 1,000 years. and then go into perdition. Revelation 17 verse 8. That is, he will shortly be put to his second death, from which there is no resurrection. He is the eighth and is of the seven. That is, there are 4 beasts in Daniel 7, 2 in Revelation 13, and 1 in chapter 17. 7 beasts in all. But the seventh lives twice. And thus, after his resurrection, he is the eighth, but is of the seven. Then he goes into perdition, suffers the second death. That is why the symbolization of the leopard-like and the scarlet-colored, I remember the statement in 2SR, page 111. It says, we believe that there must be more complete symbolical information for this present generation than for any previous one. I would like to read again. It says, we believe that there must be more complete symbolical information for this present generation than any previous one. And that complete symbolical information, it is symbolized by the leopard-like beast and the scarlet-colored beast. But the shepherd's rod is very plain. The scarlet-colored beast is from 1929 up to the commencement of the millennium. So let us read again the statement. The entire period of time of the scarlet-colored beast, it says, it is from 1929 up to the commencement of the millennium. So let's read again, 2SR 114. As previously explained, the beast first began to appear on the stage of history in 1929. You see, brothers and sisters? Therefore, the word was represents the period from the above stated date. So from 1929 up to the time when he will be not. The period represented by the word not is the 1,000 years of Satan's captivity, millennium. Then it says, this period commences with the second coming of Christ and the end of this present world. So, it's easy to discern by type and antitype. Who are they? I would like to say again, who are they? The scarlet-colored beast. Specifically, who are they? The scarlet-colored beast. The scarlet-colored beast lives twice, according to 2 TG 18:21. So I would like to quote again that statement. The scarlet-colored beast lives twice. First, from 1929 up to the commencement of the millennium. From 1929, so the beast revelation is the most simple but perfect illustration. So this is the first period of the scarlet-colored. And he lived twice. So this is 1,000 years. This is 100 years after the 1,000 years. Then we can easily discern, brothers and sisters, after 1,000 years, there must be 164 days, right? 164 days when all the wicked will be destroyed, including the devil and all the fallen angels. This is the second visible coming of Jesus Christ. And this is the end of the millennium. Therefore, we can easily understand that the period of the scarlet-colored beast is 100 years. Type and antitype. So, 1929 plus 100 equals 2029. So, year 2029, the year of Jubilee. But this one is Gregorian. Because this one is Gregorian. And in Bible calendar, the year 2029 is 2031. So, brothers and sisters, here again we can prove to you that our world will be only up to the year 2029, Bible Gregorian calendar, revealed through the beast revelation, represented by the scarlet-colored beast. So, what we are now studying must be the happenstance. So, I would like to. So, we'll be studying, because we are now in the year 2021, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029. So, just remaining 9 years. So, that promise in Revelation verse 1 is applied to this year. I will show thee things, what will happen hereafter. What will happen in 2021? What will happen in 2022? What will happen in 2023? What will happen in 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, up to the visible coming of Jesus Christ. But let us study first 2021 and 2022. So, according to 1SR Packet Edition, page 57, 1SR Packet Edition, page 57, it says, explain the cost, the reason, the significance of former things. He demands, tell us what do they mean? What are they for? Can you predict the future by the past? Be it good or be it bad? Exhibit divine power if you can. In 2TG number 9, it says on page 14, 2TG number 9 on page 14. Let me read to you. Here is a challenge to all our adversaries. Let them tell you what shall happen hereafter if they can, or let them tell the past if they will. God challenges them, that they may now know that they are as nothing, and those who choose to follow them, even they shall be an abomination to him. I would like to read 1 Symbolic Code number 5, page 6. 1 Symbolic Code number 5, page 6. The questioner will note that there are 2 beasts with 7 heads, one in Revelation 13 and the other in Revelation 17. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is symbolized by one of the heads on the former beast. So that is the leopard-like beast. The woman sits on the 7 heads of the latter beast. What is the latter beast? Scarlet-colored. What is the scarlet-colored beast? Image of the beast. But how about the 7 heads of the scarlet-colored beast? Image to the beast. Now, I would like to read first 1 Symbolic Code, number 4, page 7. 1 Symbolic Code, number 4, page 7. The image of the beast above mentioned is the third, of which the scarlet-colored beast of Revelation 17 is symbolical. So, what is the scarlet-colored beast? The entire scarlet-colored beast, it is called image of the beast. Now, let us read the Great Controversy. The Great Controversy, page 438. The Great Controversy, 438. A correct interpretation of the symbols employed is necessary to an understanding of this message. What message? The message of the third angel. What is the message of the third angel? Volume 6, page 17. That is the message of the third angel, saying, I would like to read first. Volume 6, page 17. The light we have received upon the third angel's message is the true light. The mark of the beast is exactly what it has been proclaimed to be. Not all in regard to this matter is yet understood, nor will it be understood until the unrolling of the scroll. So what is one of the focal point of the message of the third angel? It is concerning the mark of the beast. I remember, if you could find that statement in the writings of Alonzo Jones, saying that God will not send the message of warning to avoid the mark of the beast if the mark of the beast does not yet in existence or it does not yet exist. And that is very logical, found in the writings of Alonzo Jones, that it is very inconsistent to warn the people concerning the mark of the beast if it does not yet exist. Does the mark of the beast exist in the period of the judgment that pertains to the dead? So we need to study closely. So let's read the statement. It says, I would like to read that portion saying, therefore, so that portion, therefore we ask, what danger will there be that men will worship the beast at a time when there will be none for them to worship? God will never send an angel or messenger to warn men against the worship of the beast when the beast does not exist. Here's another statement in 1SR Packet Edition. It says, page 9, any thinker knows that to have made known the truth of it before time would have left it as vain, valueless, and ineffective, as would making known the truth about the image of the beast years before or a minute after it does its deceptive work. But at the striking of the foreordained hour, the time inspiration unlocks the mystery, all can behold the truth and profit by it. Happily, we can then intelligently strive to be among this guileless company and can be sealed with them if we sincerely and steadfastly follow on to know the truth on time. So, both it is valueless and ineffective if God would reveal concerning the image of the beast, the mark of the beast, to the people by which, in reality, they will die before the image of the beast exists. They will die before the mark of the beast did exist. It is out of value. But it is even more illogical that to the very people by which such scheme, such deception will be employed by Satan, and God would remain them in ignorance. And God would reveal to them at the time when such deceptive work is already working. At the time when there is no more escape, no more possible way of escaping such deception. What is the intention of the complete satanic scheme? According to 1SR 214, it says the intention of this complete satanic scheme is to deceive the whole world, and if possible, the very elect, the 144,000. So the particular object in view is the living saints, the 144,000. Now, remember, brothers and sisters, in TM 445 it says, those that overcome the world, the flesh, and the devil will be the favored ones who shall receive the seal of the living God in their foreheads. So before we could receive the seal of the living God in our foreheads, we need to overcome the world, the flesh, and then the devil. These three must be overcome before we could receive the seal of the living God. So what does it mean to overcome the devil? To escape from his deception. And it was illustrated that the 144,000 are granted to stand on the sea of glass. Who are they? In 2SR 199, it says, in the judgment, it is granted to the saints that had gotten the victory over the beast, the victory over his image, the victory over his mark, and the victory over the number of his name, to stand on the sea of glass, life eternal. Revelation 15 verse 2. What does it mean to stand on the sea of glass? In tract number 15, on page, let's read the statement given by the voice of inspiration. It says, brethren, that to stand on the sea of glass is to receive the reward. Tract 15:33. Obviously, all who get the victory over the beast, the victory over his image, the victory over his mark, the victory over the number of his name, receive their reward, stand on the sea of glass. So the significance that they were standing on the sea of glass, reward are granted to them. What is the reward? Eternal life, immortality. And in Revelation chapter 7, immortality granted before the four winds are released. Let's read 2 Symbolic Code 5 and 6, page 10. 2 Symbolic Code 5 and 6, page 10. The angel of Revelation 7, who prophetically sealed the 144,000, is the same as the one of Ezekiel 9, who marked those who sighed and cried for the abominations in the church, says the spirit of prophecy, this mightiest of angels, Revelation 7 verse 2, has in his hand the seal of the living God, or of him who alone can give life, who can inscribe upon the foreheads the mark or inscription, to whom shall be granted immortality, eternal life. So to receive the seal of the living God in our foreheads, meaning immortality granted. Therefore, before the four winds release, the 144,000, immortality was granted to them. And it is very plain in the parable in Matthew 20. Here in 2SR 235, it says, why were the first paid last and the last first? Answer, the paid God's servants received is eternal life and is characterized by the penny. Therefore, those who are granted the assurance of a never-ending life first are those who were hard last. And according to the parable, it was the company called up the 11th hour. There are those who are marked or sealed by the men with the righteous acorn of Ezekiel 9. Or as John calls him, the angel with the seal of God, and he sealed or marked 144,000. This glorious company is the first who are granted the assurance of never tasting death. But the spirit of prophecy plainly told us, before we could receive the seal of the living God in our foreheads, which is the seal of immortality, we need to overcome first the world, the flesh, and the devil. TM page 445. The last one to overcome is the devil. But in the book of Revelation, it points out to the deception that employed by the devil. So the statement to overcome the beast, to overcome his image, to overcome the mark, to overcome the number of his name, is to defeat the devil. And the only way that you can defeat the devil is by studying the symbolic revelations of the beast, because that is the deception of the devil. God revealed, uncovers the traps of the devil. To SR page 10, by these symbolic revelations. So the statement given in The Great Controversy, page 438, a correct interpretation of the symbols employed is necessary to an understanding of this message. The message of the third angel. The message of the third angel, it is concerning the beast, the image, the mark, and the number of his name. So it says here in the Great Controversy 438, a correct interpretation of the symbols employed is necessary to an understanding of this message. What is represented by the beast? What is represented by the image? And what is represented by the mark? The Great Controversy, page 438. So we need now to study closely. What is represented by the beast? What is represented by the image? And what is represented by the mark? Remember, the divine principle in tract number 15 on page 76. Tract number 15, page 76, it says, no, inspiration would not thus confuse its terms and still expect us to comprehend its teachings, to know how to interpret its symbols, and when to expect the actual events to take place. So let us distinctly separate the preposition to and the preposition of. Image to the beast and image of the beast, because they are not the same. Image of the beast and image to the beast. Now, let's read the Great Controversy. The Great Controversy, page 443. But what is the image to the beast? The Great Controversy 443. But what is the image to the beast? And how is it to be formed? The image is made by the two-horned beast and is an image to the beast. It is also called an image of the beast. Then to learn what the image is like and how it is to be formed, we must study the characteristics of the beast. The characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. Does the spur prophecy say that the beast is the papacy? No, the spur prophecy did not say that. That is why Alonso John says that when we study the prophecy, we need to study what it does say and what it did not say. Let's read the statement. It says, it is important, therefore, for us to study the prophecy and see what it says, and as much as possible, what it does not say. Do not forget that Sister White and B.T. Hotep have the same spirit of inspiration. Therefore, their writings will never contradict. And the principle is the same with the statement in One Symbolic Code, number 4, page 5, saying, the trouble does not lie in the statement themselves, but rather in man's limited knowledge of the truth therein. One Symbolic Code, number 4, page 5. The trouble does not lie in the statement themselves, but rather in man's limited knowledge of the truth therein. You see, the trouble does not lie with the statements, but the trouble is concerning the minds who read them. In 3 Symbolic Code 8 to 10, page 10. 3 Symbolic Code 8 to 10, page 10, it says, the trouble does not lie in the aforenamed publications, but rather in the minds of those who read them. And the same divine principle with the Bible, saying that it says in the Great Controversy introduction concerning the Bible itself, written in different ages by men who differed widely in rank and occupation and in mental and spiritual endowments, the books of the Bible present a wide contrast in style as well as diversity in the nature on the subjects unfolded. Different forms of expression are employed by different writers. Often the same truth is more strikingly presented by one than by another. And as several writers present a subject under varied aspects and relations, there may appear to the superficial, careless, or prejudiced reader to be discrepancy or contradiction, where the thoughtful, reverent student with clearer insight discerns the underlying harmony. Now, what the Shepherd's Rod teaches in 2SR page 151. Let's read the statement. It says, the idea that the papacy is called the beast is altogether wrong. The papacy is represented by symbols on two different beasts. First, on the nondescript of Daniel 7, by the little horn, having eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Second, on the leopard-like of Revelation 13, by the head that was wounded to death. These beasts are universal, representing the entire world in their time, both civil and religious. Therefore, it could not be said of either beast, it is a man. The papacy, being only a part of both beasts, horned head on one, and simply a wounded head on the other, cannot be called the beast. 2SR 151. Thus, the spur prophecy called the leopard-like beast, or thus the Great Controversy rather. Thus the Great Controversy 443 called the leopard-like beast the papacy. No. The Great Controversy does not say that. The Great Controversy is rather saying that the characteristics of that beast is the papacy. Not the beast, but the characteristics of the beast. Now, I would like to read the Great Controversy 443 again. But what is the image to the beast? And how is it to be formed? The image is made by the two-horned beast and is an image to the beast. It is also called an image of the beast. Then to learn what the image is like and how it is to be formed, we must study the characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. The term papacy, it is a system. And the term papacy, brothers and sisters, that is the characteristics of the beast. Does the beast is the papacy? No. This prophecy did not say that. But this prophecy is saying that the characteristics of the beast is the papacy. So, brothers and sisters, it says, then to learn what the image is like and how it is to be formed, we must study the characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. So we need to study the characteristics of the beast, which is the characteristics of the papacy, to learn what is the image is like and how it is to be formed. But first of all, the great controversy in the shepherd's rod is very plain that the one who made the image is the two-horned beast. Let us now find out what is the two-horned beast, or what is the two-horn of that beast. Let's read 2TG. Let's read the statement here in 2TG, number 17 on page 9 and page 10. 2TG number 17, page 9 and page 10. It says, the beast two horns, it says, the beast two horns point to its two political ruling parties, Democrats and Republicans. Now, study carefully, brothers and sisters. What is the beast two horns? Democrats and Republicans. Now, since the prophecy says, the image to the beast and the image of the beast is formed by the two-horned beast. What is the two-horn? Democrats and Republicans. But it is commonly called in the United States of America, the Republicans as the rightists and the Democrats as the leftists. Why is it that the Republicans are called the rightists? Because they were conservative. And why is it that Democrats is called leftists? Because they are liberal. So, the Bible cannot be mistaken. This prophecy cannot be mistaken. How much more the shepherd's rod? Now, I would like to read, brethren, this reading in tract number 12. Tract number 12 on page 53 and also page 59. On page 53, it says, current events that may fulfill prophecy. If we will read tract number 12 on page 6, it says, the kingdoms that have gone down, the kingdoms that still exist, and the kingdoms that are yet to come, whose legislations involve God's people, had been pictorially chronicled by both Daniel and John the Revelator. You know that statement, whose legislations involve God's people, is even more directly to the United States of America, pointing directly to the United States of America, predicted beforehand. Such legislations involve God's people. Now, I would like to read page 59 in tract number 12. It is well to remember that aside from stating the geographic locations, tract number 12, page 59, it is well to remember that aside from stating the geographic locations of the four Grecian divisions, the prophetic record of the entire chain of events is devoted to the king of the south and to the king of the north. So concerning Daniel chapter 11, the focal point of that prophetic chapter is the king of the south and the king of the north. And who are they, the king of the south? Mohammedans, right? Now let's read first the statement in the shepherd's rod. Plainly telling that the king of the south, they are the Mohammedans. It says here, tract number 12, page 75. It says, the title king of the south applies to the Mohammedan rulers. Tract number 12, page 75. The title king of the south applies to the Mohammedan rulers. And it is very important because that predicted event in Zechariah 14 very soon will be fulfilled. Now, let's read tract number 12, page 59. It says, it is well to remember that aside from stating the geographic locations of the four Grecian divisions, the prophetic record of the entire chain of events is devoted to the king of the south and to the king of the north. The acts of the king of the north, however, are especially emphasized, showing that the whole prophetic account is given particularly to expose his meddling with holy things. Now, who is the king of the north? I would like to go to the direct fulfillment of the prophecy. It is pointing to the United States of America. Now let's read 2SR. 2SR page 151. It says, the two-horned beast is the only one representing a local religio-political government. Therefore, of him alone can it be said it is a man. Thus, whosoever shall stand at the head of that persecuting power, as described in this chapter, and represented by the beast, is the one who shall bear the mystical number 666. The prophecy also states that the king of the north brought to view in Daniel 11 verse 45, and the two-horned beast of Revelation 13 is the same power, and that it shall bear this mystical number 666. So, who is king of the north? In the last and the final application as the perfect fulfillment of the prophecy, United States of America. Because the two-horned beast, there is only one nation. According to Great Controversy 440, only one nation. And it points out unmistakably to the United States of America. So the image to the beast and the image of the beast is formed by the two-horned beast. Great Controversy 443. What is the two-horn? 2TG 17, page 9 and 10. Democrats and Republicans. That is why tract number 12, page 53. Current events that may fulfill prophecy. Now, in the light of this fact, I would like to read first the story of redemption. Let me read to you. Story of redemption. The story of redemption on page 381. The beast and its image. By this first beast is represented the Roman Church, an ecclesiastical body clothed with civil power, having authority to punish all dissenters. The image to the beast represents another religious body clothed with similar powers. The formation of this image is the work of that beast, whose peaceful rise and mild professions render it so striking a symbol of the United States. Here is to be found an image of the papacy, when the churches of our land, uniting upon such points of faith as are held by them in common, shall influence the state to enforce their decrees and sustain their institutions. Then will Protestant America, it says, then will Protestant America have formed an image of the Roman hierarchy. Then the true church will be assailed by persecution, as were God's ancient people. But I would like to focus to the attention that the image to the beast is ecclesiastical body, another religious body clothed with similar powers. And there is no doubt that ecclesiastical body, that is the evangelical church. So let us read again the Great Controversy. It says here, so here the voice of inspiration is plainly telling, brothers and sisters. 445. It says, Charles Beecher, in a sermon in the year 1846, declared that the ministry of the evangelical Protestant denominations is not only formed all the way up under a tremendous pressure of merely human fear, but they live and move and breathe in a state of things radically corrupt and appealing every hour to every baser element of their nature to hush up the truth and bow the knee to the power of apostasy. Was not this the way things went with Rome? Are we not living her life over again? And what do we see just ahead? Another General Council, a World's Convention, Evangelical Alliance, and Universal Creed. When this shall be gained, then in the effort to secure complete uniformity, it will be only a step to the resort to force. The Great Controversy, page 445. So through the light of the spirit of prophecy, we can easily discern what is the two horns, Republican and Democrats. 2TG 17, 9, and 10. But it's easy to understand. The image to the beast is formed by the Republicans. But the image of the beast is formed by the Democrats. Now, I would like to repeat again. The image to the beast. What is the image to the beast? Ecclesiastical body. Religious body. And since the Republican is the rightists, which is conservative Christians, they are the one that form the image to the beast, ecclesiastical body, clothed with civil power. What is that civil power? That is pointing to that bill, that law that had been established by the Republican. They called it the religious freedom. And that is why, brothers and sisters, we found out that the presidency of Donald Trump is found in prophecy. and the presidency of Joseph Biden is also found in prophecy. There must be two horns, Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans, they were the one who formed the image to the beast. But the Democrats, they will be the one to form the image of the beast. The image to the beast is more on ecclesiastical because that is ecclesiastical body, religious body. But unlike with the image of the beast, it is even more pertaining to the civil aspects. And I would like to read the statement in 2TG, number 17, on page 10 and 11. Here you see that this unification of the world engendered to bring peace and harmony out of the present chaos will instead bring an even greater time of trouble. And why? Because though the beast may bring communism and capitalism to mutual agreement, this statement cannot be applied to Donald Trump because communism mentioned here is even more directing to China. And of course, capitalism must be pointing to the great businessmen in the United States of America, as well as in the continent of Europe. It must be Joseph Biden, the Democrats. He will be the one to bring communism and capitalism in mutual agreement. Donald Trump is against China. He cannot bring mutual agreement, communism and capitalism, because ecclesiastical body is against communism and communism against religion. So, this is very clear that this statement must be applied only to the Democrats and more particularly to Joseph Biden, the present president in the United States of America. Every angle in prophecy is fulfilling this year. So I would like to focus our attention to the time when the woman sits on the seven heads. The woman sits on the seven heads. So I would like to read 2SR. Here in 2SR, let's read 123. 2SR page 123. Therefore, 2SR page 123. Therefore, when Catholicism, Protestantism, and Spiritualism clasps each other's hand by the medium of a league, then it could be said the woman seated on the heads. So, let's read again the statement. 2SR 123. Therefore, when Catholicism, so it is not difficult to understand Catholicism. Ponder deeply, brothers and sisters. Does Catholicism in the United States of America is dead or alive? Remember, it was predicted beforehand in the Great Controversy, 573, that the lost power of the papal supremacy will be regained in the United States of America. That's very plain. And you cannot deny the prophecy. And we studied several times that the papacy cannot be established unless there must be great apostasy first. Great Controversy, page 49. Now, I would like to read again, brothers and sisters, this reading. Therefore, when Catholicism, Protestantism, and Spiritualism clasp each other's hand by the medium of a league, then it could be said the woman seated on the heads. What heads? The seven heads of the scarlet-colored. What is the seven heads of the scarlet-colored? Image to the beast. What is the image to the beast? Ecclesiastical body. So that ecclesiastical body is threefold union composed of Catholicism, Protestantism, and Spiritualism. Threefold union. I would like to read 13 Symbolic Code, 3 and 4, page 10. 13 Symbolic Code, 3 and 4, page 10. The confederacy that we're studying this afternoon commences before the loud cry and before the slaughter of Ezekiel 9. It is not the image of the beast. Why? Because it is the image to the beast. It is not the image of the beast, for this association precedes the image of the beast. And the confederacy is formed when the nations are girding themselves for war. So in this study, what specifically the confederacy is talking about? The threefold union. Catholicism, Spiritualism, and Protestantism grasps each other's hand. And it says, put another way, the confederacy will commence after the sealing. So will you wait when this confederacy apparently rebuild? The sealing of the 144,000 is already finished. And that's why God is revealing to us before everything is too late. Because there is a death decree in the fifth trumpet. That is during the Assyrian Confederacy. Death decree on the sixth trumpet. Babylonian Confederacy. Now, let's read the statement. 13 Symbolic Code, 3 and 4, page 10. Moreover, it is in the time when the Christian nations are united that the woman Babylon will sit on the seven heads. Revelation 17:9, depicting also the union of the churches under Babylon. The union of the churches under Babylon, but in the period of Assyria. You see, brothers and sisters, when does the woman sit on the seven heads? At the time when the nations are girding themselves for war. Would you think today the nations are not girding themselves for war? Here's another statement that I would like to read to you. 2SR page 158. 158. Preliminary to that miracle-working power, Protestantism, Catholicism, and Spiritualism will have grasped each other's hand by means of a church federation. The difference of opinion in doctrinal points will be considered of no vital importance to salvation. What is that church federation? I would like to define that church federation before it will apparently appear. That church federation, they called it love and respect, by which it sounds good. You need to love your fellow men and you need to respect your fellow men, right? But that is perverted love. That is perverted respect. Because the bottom line of that federation is to boycott God's people, that they could not sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the land, because you are now prohibited to speak evil according to them. If you love and respect them, do not speak negative things. Now, for example, in the days of B.T. Hotep, I would like to read to you 1 TG number 29. Let's read. Let me see if we could find that statement. By which, in that statement, B.T. Hotep says that 1 TG 32, page 16. 1 TG 32, page 16. It says, just the other day, so I would like to relate to you the experience of B.T. Hotep in his days. Just the other day, from a brother minister, I received a very kindly written letter in which he sincerely expresses his opinion of our literature. He very politely explained that all he has against it is that in it we speak of the sins and mistakes which the leaders of the church commit. If you have love for them, he said, you will speak only good of them. You see, that is the experience in the days of B.T. Hotep, by which that experience is only an illustration. For example, at this present time, we are broadcasting our message through internet, YouTube, Facebook, but the time will come that we will be prohibited. You are no longer allowed to speak the abominations because you need to respect other people. You need to love them, but perverted love and perverted respect. And this the answer given by B.T. Hotep says, I do appreciate this brother's sincerity in this matter, but I do not appreciate his judgment on it. If he will re-examine the literature, I am sure he will find that we have said nothing but only what the scriptures say on the subject for our time. Therefore, his burden in actuality is directed not against us but against God himself. Our business, brother, sister, is not to find fault with either the ministry or the laity, but to truthfully bring to light what the scriptures have to say, God's people of today. We cannot do otherwise, God helping us. Ezekiel Church is our church. The same with us. Our duty is not to find fault, because if we are finding fault, then we will be mentioning names. But we are only broadcasting what had been recorded in the Bible, this for prophecy, or as explained by the Shepherd's Rod publications. And the Shepherd's Rod made it so plain that before the false prophet will let fire come down from heaven, this threefold union must be fulfilled first. Catholicism, spiritualism, and Protestantism. Threefold union. But let us distinctly separate the threefold union, which is the image to the beast, and the threefold union, which is the image of the beast. Because the threefold union, which is the image to the beast, it was illustrated the woman is sitting on the seven heads. But the threefold union, which is the image of the beast, it is illustrated that the woman is sitting on the beast. But the threefold union, which is the image to the beast, illustrated by the woman sitting on the seven heads, precedes the image of the beast, precedes the event by which the woman will sit on the scarlet-colored beast. Now, I would like to read again the statement in 2SR 151. It says, the two-horned beast is the only one representing a local religio-political government. What does it mean by religio-political government? It says the two hornbeast is the only one representing a local religio-political government. That is church and state. What is represented by two hornbeast? Church and state, but local. Let us read 2SR, page 88. Okay, 2SR, page 88, and then page 113. 2SR, page 88. The crowns represent civil authority. So what is the crowns? Represent civil authority, as previously explained. So what is represented by the civil authority? Crowns. The crowns represent civil authority. Therefore, if the crowns is placed on the horns, it is natural. Because the horns represent political government, and only political government has civil authority. Now, let us read 2SR. It says, if the horns represents the political side, then the heads cannot. 2SR, page 88. If the horns represent the political side, so what is the representation of the horns? Political side. What is the representation of the crowns? Civil authority. Does the horns represent civil authority? No. The horns represent political side. Because there are 10 horns without crowns. So they were in the political side, but they have no authority. There are two descriptions of the horns without crowns. Uncrowned and crownless. Let us set aside first the communism, because that is the last representation of the term crownless. So what does it mean by horns that had been uncrowned? Now, the best example that I could use is Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and George Bush. At this time, they were represented by the horns that had been uncrowned. They had no more authority because they were no longer sitting on the government, but they were political side, brothers and sisters. So those governors, senators, congressmen, they will no longer sit in office, they were represented by the horns that had been uncrowned. But why is it that it was represented in the scarlet-colored beast, which commenced in 1929? Because although they were uncrowned, their influence is still very powerful. Although we will discuss that on our next episode, but I would like to focus first the religio-political government. Here in 2SR page 113, it says, I would like to read, 2SR 113. It has been previously explained that when the crowns appear on the heads, it denotes a religio-political system. Now, I would like to read again, 2SR 113. It has been previously explained that when the crowns appear on the heads, it denotes religio-political system. That is very plain. In what way does the religio-political system or religio-political government is illustrated? When the crowns appear on the heads. Now, the religio-political government in the United States of America, where we could find in the symbolization in the book of Revelation. Is there any symbolization that the two-horned beast, someday they will be crowned? Or illustrated by the leopard-like beast that the 7 heads will be crowned? No. The only symbolization is found on the red dragon. And that is why the great controversy says concerning the third angel's message. Now let us read again. The great controversy, page 438. The great controversy, page 438. A correct interpretation of the symbols employed is necessary to an understanding of this message. What is represented by the beast? The image of the mark. The line of prophecy in which these symbols are found begins with Revelation chapter 12. That is very plain. When does the line of the symbols concerning the third angel's message begins? In Revelation chapter 12. And what is the statement given by the Jarber's Rod, General Conference Special, page 39? The 3 angels' messages is directly applied in the judgment that pertains to the living, not in the judgment that pertains to the dead. It is in the judgment that pertains to the living. So which will come first? The universal Sunday law or the national Sunday law in the United States of America? Of course, everybody knew that that would be the national Sunday law. Religio-political government. In the other term used by the Shepherd's Rod, it is called ecclesiastical monarchical government. Ecclesiastical and monarchical meaning political. Religio-political. So it's easy to understand. Where we could find the illustration that there must be religio-political government in the United States of America, church and state. Can it be found in the symbolization on the two-horned beast? No. on the leopard-like beast? No. Because what is the illustration of the religio-political government according to the shepherd's rod? The crowns placed on the 7 heads. In what symbolization is that? Red dragon. That is why it says the line of this prophecy found its symbolization begins in Revelation chapter 12. How about universal Sunday law? Is it illustrated by the red dragon? No. It was illustrated by the woman riding on the scarlet colored beast because the crown is the woman. Now, I would like to read 2SR 113. It says, 2SR 113. The scarlet colored beast is also controlled by the woman. 2SR 113. The scarlet colored beast is also controlled by the woman, riding on his back, church and state. Thus, it denotes that she is the authority or the crown, for she rules the beast. This is one of the reasons why the crowns are absent on this beast. Why is it that the crowns is absent on the scarlet colored beast? Because the crown is the woman, representing religio-political government, but that is universal Sunday law. But how about national Sunday law, where we could find the illustration, religio-political government? Only on the red dragon. What does it mean? It shows that all the religious system in the United States of America is defeated by the devil. And the only true people of God is individual. There is no movement which is of God. Let us read 2SR on page 69. The dragon with his 7 heads and 10 horns with the crowns on the heads appear at the birth of Christ as previously explained and occupies the period parallel with the nondescript beast. The heads are represented by the biblical number 7, meaning completeness, and embrace every religious system in the days of Christ. So that is the picture, the photograph, and according to symbolic code, with such description indicates that the true people of God is not found by a religious body, but only by individuals. The 144,000 is scattered without a shepherd. 1SR 222. Now I would like to read 12 symbolic code number 2, page 7. It says, yes, read. In Revelation chapter 12, we have a description of the dragon at the time Christ was born. He had 7 heads and 10 horns, signifying that all the kingdoms, 10 horns of the world, and all religions, 7 heads, were serving the dragon without any exemption. All of them are serving the dragon. And it says, had he not conquered the Jewish church, too he could not have had 7 heads. When the dragon conquered the Jewish church, God's people at that time, that gave him 7 heads. The very fact that the Jews were the ones who had Christ crucified furnished the evidence that the Bible correctly pictured them exactly where they were with the dragon. Seeing then that the devil had all the religions of the earth and all the kingdoms of the earth represented by the 7 heads and 10 crown horns on his head, then how much was not the devil's? It was all his. This being true, then for God's true individual people within the church, the earth had indeed become a bottomless pit, a prison house. So God's true people is only individual. The mere fact that it is the 2-horned beast that will speak as a dragon indicates that the dragon is in the United States of America. Brothers and sisters, symbols can never be broken. Symbols do not lie. If there is a divinely called movement in the United States of America, then there is no Sunday law. It was illustrated already, demonstrated in the type. In the Babylonian Empire, Satan want to introduce ecclesiastical monarchical government. You can read from 2SR page 56 to page 61 and 62. But he failed because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were there. Now, in the Medo-Persian Empire, he introduced again, but he failed because Daniel was there, indicating that as long as there is inspired servant of God, there is no possibility that the devil can implement ecclesiastical monarchical government. Then what the devil did? He is leading the Jewish people to reject the prophet. So when Malachi died in 395 BC, when God no longer sent any prophet in ancient Israel, in the closing period of the Old Testament, according to 2SR 126-127, as the fulfillment of Daniel 8, verse 23 and 24, the transgressors came to the full. What full? Full apostasy. Although they were already in apostasy, but it is impossible to reach the full apostasy as long as there is inspired servant. Because God's inspired servant is the one who checked the tide of apostasy. Now look at to the antitype. Because the type is the vineyard, ancient Palestine. What is the antitype? Modern vineyard, modern Palestine, United States of America. In 1888, it was introduced, brothers and sisters, the Sunday law, Sunday blue law. It was defeated. Why? Because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were there. Ellen G. White, Alonzo Jones, and Wagoner. Now, according to the history, it was in 1948 that the papacy want to establish Council of Churches or World Council of Churches in the United States of America, but they could not. Why? Because antitypical Daniel was still there, B.T. Hotep. But the Bible cannot be mistaken. It's very positive. There must be national Sunday law in the United States of America. What is the bottom line? Indicates that God is telling you and I that there is no more divinely called movement. There is no more inspired servant in the United States of America. The vineyard is desolate. The husbandman left the vineyard. God's presence completely removed. And the true people of God, the 144,000 living saints, are individual people, scattered without a shepherd. 1SR, page 222. So, let us gradually decipher the entire symbolization of the beast as recorded in the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. So, to repeat again, brothers and sisters, both the image to the beast and image of the beast is made by the two horn. What is the two horn? Democrats and Republicans. But the image to the beast is formed by the Republican government under the leadership of Donald Trump. The image to the beast is formed. But the image of the beast will be formed by the Democrats under the leadership of Joseph Biden. So, the Bible cannot be mistaken. The prophecy cannot be mistaken. And that prophecy is about to pass off. Soon, very soon, brothers and sisters, there must be great persecution in the United States of America. As stated by the prophet, this year, you will realize that United States of America is not the better place for the people who want to worship God according to the dictates of their own conscience. And America will become the greatest peril. So, let's read here in Selected Messages, Book 3, page 387 and 388. Our own land, that is United States of America, our own land is to become a battlefield on which is to be carried on the struggle of religious liberty, to worship God according to the dictates of our own conscience. But to them, it is apparent genuine worship because it is nice to the sound. The sound is very nice to human reasoning. Love and respect. Love and respect. If you love your fellow man, you need to vaccinate. You need to receive vaccination according to them so that they will not be contaminated. The declaration is true, but the solution is wrong. Because God already pronounced in Exodus 15, verse 26, but that if we will obey all the commandments of God, moral law, and the law of health, God already guaranteed there is no disease or illness from Egypt that will come unto you. Coronavirus, that is the disease in Egypt. So the solution that cometh from God, I would like to read to you in the writings of Sister White and B.T. Hotep, is to adopt and to obey completely the commandments of God. That is full protection. You will never contaminated with such illness. Vaccination is not the solution that cometh from God. It is from the devil. The bottom line is from the devil. The same with the statement, love and respect. It sounds good. But the system, the way that had been carried out does not cometh from God. It says here, America can become the place of greatest peril. So that is the statement, brothers and sisters. Soon, very soon, that statement given by Sister White will finally be realized. So, hoping that we are prepared for that time and our lives will be secured in the almighty hands of God. And we'll continue this subject on next episode. Thank you very much for listening and viewing this program. May the good Lord bless you and have a beautiful, wonderful evening.